Breaking developments tonight in that deadly church bus crash. More than a dozen people died. What officials say happened just minutes before the head-on collision.
This is KVUE News at 5.
I'm Terry Gruca.
And I'm Mike Rush. We begin with new information about that deadly crash involving a church bus and a truck. Law enforcement saying they received calls about the driver of the pickup driving erratically. 2 people who made those reports later called back to say there had been a crash.
13 members of the New Braunfels First Baptist Church congregation died. Only 1 person survived. They were heading home from a church retreat when they were hit. Jason Puckett joins us live from the church with how the community is coping with this tragedy.
Well, Terry and Mike, the folks here at First Baptist New Braunfels have been understandably emotional today, working to process the loss of 13 beloved senior members of this church. The leaders here at the church and congregation members have just been in fellowship today, really trying to learn how to take the next steps forward. Now, you'll remember this crash happened just after noon yesterday. Their church bus leaving a retreat near Garner State Park in Uvalde County. They were driving south on Highway 83 when a large pickup truck traveling north crossed the center line and struck the bus head on. 13 of the 14 church members on the bus have died, while 1 more remains in the hospital tonight. The driver of that truck also air rushed to the hospital, where we're told he is still in critical condition right now. Senior Pastor Brad McLean speaking with us earlier today about he and his congregation are coping.
Our priority as a church in these days is to care for our families who've lost a loved one in this accident. We want to take care of them. We want to help them through these difficult days.
And while this is not a definitive answer yet, officials near the crash scene are telling us that a woman actually called in earlier yesterday and reported the truck involved in the crash for swerving across the road. Later, that same driver calling back in and reporting that the crash had happened. We will have more for you tonight on the congregation and more on how the community at large is coming together to support First Baptist here. For now, live here in New Braunfels, I'm Jason Puckett, KVUE News.
Jason, the 13 people killed were between 61 and 87 years old. All of the victims have been identified tonight. Family members have given us these pictures of several of them, including Mildred Rosamond, Adid Schmedelkoff, Avis Banks, Sue Tisdale, and Rhonda Allen. We will continue to follow this story as it develops right here on KVUE, and we'll have more tonight at 6 and 10.
New at 5. Questions tonight after 2 brothers were electrocuted by a downed power line in East Fort Worth. 11-year-old Isaiah Lopez and his 12-year-old brother Alex died from their injuries. It happened in a wooded area in a park yesterday. One of the main questions still looming: when did the power company, Encore, know the line was down? The company says it's looking into what happened.
Almost 2 years after a Hutto police officer was run over and killed with his own patrol car, his family and fellow officers are officially naming a stretch of road after him. They say they're working to keep his memory alive. KVUE's Williamson County reporter Christy Millward is there. She shows us how the community is honoring the officer, husband, and father.
A main thoroughfare in Hutto. It's where Sergeant Chris Kelly's family, friends, and fellow officers will drive almost every day. And each day they'll see this, a remembrance of the man they loved so much, his wife, Michelle.
It allows us to know that the community still thinks about him.
She spoke at the dedication Thursday to rename FM 685 to Chris Kelly Boulevard.
The renaming of this road is bittersweet as we are reminded of the ultimate sacrifice Chris took on June 24, 2015.
It's a sacrifice that not only took away a husband, but also a father to Mackenzie and Nathaniel.
Our children can see this and remember how their daddy was a selfless man and that their daddy was a hero.
A hero also remembered by his fellow officers.
Today we take the step towards remembrance. We transform grief and give something of Sergeant Chris Kelly to the community that he served. His integrity, commitment, selflessness, and humor are indelibly forged into the asphalt of this roadway, which now bears his name.
Now they're glad his name and memory will live on.
It means a lot for us to have this support because there's a lot of days where we still feel alone because our main person that we want here is no longer here.
In Hutto, Christy Millward, KVUE News.
Colby Ray Williamson is facing a murder charge for Kelly's death. The jury trial is set for this July.
Breaking at the state capitol tonight, Texas senators have passed Senate Bill 3 creating education savings accounts. Some call it school choice, others vouchers. KVUE political reporter Ashley Goodo is live at the Capitol. And Ashley, this is a different version of the bill that hasn't been debated the past few weeks.
Right, Mike. About an hour before discussion on the bill started, the senator who wrote it filed a floor substitute presenting essentially a completely new version of the bill. The bill's author, Senator Larry Taylor, said that 33-page version narrows SB 3, which creates education savings accounts, putting a percentage of the money the state pays to educate a child into an account that can be used to pay for private school tuition. Today was the first time many of the senators saw this version of the bill, and some of them raised concerns because of that. Under the new version, only low-income students are eligible to receive education savings accounts, and ESAs are only available in school districts with an attendance zone of 285,000 people or more, meaning they won't be offered in rural school districts. Senator Taylor also says these restrictions drop the cost of the program from $300 million to $9 million.
And the beauty of this is not a winner-take-all situation. With this program we're going to talk about today, it does not affect our public school finance, and it does provide a small number of students the opportunity to do something different.
Senator Taylor's new version of the bill also allows children with special needs to receive ESAs. Even though the bill is smaller in scope, many senators still have problems with it. Senator Kel Seliger and Senator Royce West say they're concerned about accountability and giving tax dollars to schools with no state oversight into curriculum or student success. Now, the Senate adjourned for 1 minute and just voted moments ago to approve SB 3 on its final reading. That means it's being sent over to the House. Live at the Capitol, Ashley Goodo, KVUE News.
More to follow, Ashley. Thank you. Tonight, a victory for the transgender community. North Carolina's controversial bathroom bill is basically dead. ABC's Aaron Katursky with the latest.
House Bill 142 passes its third reading.
North Carolina lawmakers ended a standoff over the state's controversial transgender bathroom law. The Senate repealed an earlier law known as HB 2 that required people to use public bathrooms that correspond to the sex on their birth certificate. But they prevented cities and towns from passing their own protections for lesbians, gays, transgender, and bisexual people.
It's our obligation to make sure that we reach out to everybody and ensure that they're included and that they're afforded all of the rights.
A few hours later, the North Carolina House okayed the measure.
I just signed House Bill 142. Today, we repealed House Bill 2, and we begin to end discrimination.
There's considerable opposition to the bill from conservatives who think they were railroaded to support it in order to stop an NCAA boycott of the state over the original bathroom bill.
Basketball is important in North Carolina. Nobody's going to deny that. But we've given in to threats, and I don't see any other way to give this. We've been threatened as a state, and we took the Cowards Act, and we're backing down at this point.
This week, the NCAA will decide on tournament locations through the spring of 2022, and the college athletics governing body has said no tournaments would be awarded to North Carolina unless the bathroom bill was changed. It remains to be seen if the NCAA will accept the compromise. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
A similar bill here in Texas passed the state Senate but is stalled in the House.
Sunny skies and perfect this afternoon. The humidity stayed down. The winds were gentle out of the south, and it's going to be a great evening if you have any plans outdoors. Live look outside, plenty of sunshine over central Texas. Highs today above average, but well away from record-setting temperatures in the low 80s at both Camp Mabry and also at Bergstrom. High pressure will make for an even hotter day tomorrow, near 90 in a couple of spots here in central Texas. But notice that area of low pressure over the west. That's going to increase those rain chances starting this weekend. A few storms on Saturday could be strong, but then widespread rainfall starting Sunday morning. Lots to get to with your hour-by-hour forecast coming up.